Mel, and your life is going to change. You are going to be different, different. My name is Mel, and your life is going to change. You are going to be different, different. My name is Mel, and your life is going to change. You are going to be different. You are going to be out. You are going to be bigger and larger than ever. Imagine it's impossible, and you know why? Because just you and I going to find the power that's been dormant inside of you all of this time. And all of this time, you were afraid to go out and no longer look at me. You will be the sharp. You will be the God where God is something. You will be the one that everybody goes to and says, hey, look, they're there. The master's there. The teacher there. There's the one that will make my life different. And who am I to do that? Remember, I'm stuck. I'm here to help you. I'm here to change your life. Your life will no longer be the same. Be together. I'm going to conquer the world. Before you know everything you imagine possible will be done possible for one simple reason. Anything is possible. My name is Mel, and your life is going to change. You are going to be different. My name is Mel, and your life is going to change. You are going to be different.
And welcome to another broadcast of Uncommon Sense. Today we've got something a little bit zany and, all over the place for you. Not that it's different any other way, but we have a lot of people online here asking questions. We are joined by Shi Min. We're joined by Carlos, Luke Gill, who is the co-host of this program as well. And the program deals with a lot of psychological issues and issues that are also, on planet and off planet as well. Tomorrow, I'm going to be doing something off planet with some people, and it'll be a lot of fun to have these guys on board as well. So we'll find out more about what questions they have for me. Welcome, Luke. Welcome, Shi Min. Welcome, Carlos.
Great to be here. Welcome, guys.
Hey, Carlos. And Shi Min, you want to unmute your mic so we can hear you.
Hi.
Hi. Welcome to the show. Don't mind that people are listening to you from Bulgaria to Slovenia to Japan to Brazil and various different parts of the world. So I couldn't hold a session just for you guys because this program ends about 11 o'clock, sometimes 11:30 or later. And because when we bring on people who talk a lot, it becomes a little bit difficult. In fact, one of the nights of the round table is Sir Talk-A-Lot, and he'll be coming on soon. That's my son up there, Luke, and he'll be co-hosting this program as well. So he won't be smiling a lot. He'll be actually taking charge in a few minutes. But just to let people know what Shi Min and Carlos are going to be doing. Tomorrow at, was it 8 or 8:30?
8 p.m.
8 p.m. Yeah.
8 p.m. At 8 p.m., I'm meeting them in a very special spot that we're going to keep quiet for now. And in that spot, we are going to be exercising what is called a CE5 protocol or CE5 meditation. CE5 stands for Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, which is direct communication with extraterrestrial beings. So remember Eugene Tay from Ghostbusters and everything else that we were talking about, and he did this interview for the paranormal and everything. Well, this is part of Eugene's group, and together we're going to be doing a lot of people separated into groups because of the law and what have you, and they're quite very far apart, but we're all joined in one goal, and the goal is to see if we can make contact with extraterrestrial beings using a specific protocol that has worked for several scientific communities around the world. Science-based, not woohoo. So Carlos, we lost Shi Min, so I don't know where she is, but you have some questions for me for tomorrow.
Okay. How do you differentiate the contact with, contacting UFO and not, how to say, and the other beings that we're in contact with is UFO and not spirits?
Okay. It's you know what's the sad thing and the funniest thing? The place that we're gonna do it at once upon a time when I was a little boy in Singapore.
Mhm.
Is that sound from you, Carlos?
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that potato chips there?
Potato chips? It sounds like he's eating potato chips.
No. I'm not
Or
eating any.
he's pulling his pants up. I think he
No,
didn't think
no.
that was that kind of show. What? That's why we don't see Carlos as well.
No.
It could be. Do you wanna mute your mic maybe for a minute? Okay, there we go. And let him handle that for a little bit. Sorry, Shimin. Carlos was pulling his pants up. So he had a question. Tomorrow's exercise, it is very clear, and what usually happens in groups where I conduct this is that we see lights, literally sometimes one, sometimes two or three in a group or in formation. They will appear and they will be around. But the funniest thing and the sad thing is that where we are doing it tomorrow used to be a graveyard. I don't know if you know that. It was the bodies were exhumed and taken off and put on the walls and something like that. Maybe not the best place on earth, but if we can treat it like a sacred place, then maybe we won't experience all those other things. But I won't know because I haven't been in Singapore too long. I've been in and out, and I've forgotten that those areas. So when I'm there, I'll be able to tell you, guys, I don't think this is good because of this, and I'll show you, and then I'll demonstrate so that you'll have that idea as well. So, Carlos, I hope you're hearing that as well. I will be able to differentiate because I've been doing this a long time, and you'll be able to see as well. If somebody gets into trouble where there's a sense of being possessed or quote unquote possessed or whatever the case might be, I can also handle that. This is what I do best. So I've been in the fray, so don't be afraid. Yeah, if there's something that's terrible, just stand behind me, and we'll be okay. Do you have any other questions, Shimin? Or Carlos, if your pants are up?
Not for now.
Not for now. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Let's welcome some people into the room. Lawrence Buckley from Ontario, welcome. Eugene Tay, he's about to start his program. He has a concurrent program starting at the same time that I'm starting this as well. So he'll be listening in from time to time. Diana Lane, good to see you. We haven't had a chance to meet for coffee yet. Eljana is calling from Bulgaria. Chan Takaransip is calling from Thailand. And Kimberly Mabel Poon, probably Singapore, right? Any precautions for anyone who's a little but more sensitive? A little but more sensitive. In fact, it's better if you are. Then you'll be able to feel more, see more, and do more. The whole idea for the protocol, and Luke will take the stand now for a minute because he's been doing the protocol just for fun, not for a specific trying to contact any form of beings. And usually you find that they're not really extraterrestrial, they're more interdimensional because the craft is more technically superior. Is that a better word? So we've gone, as you know, I've gone past the discussions. Are they real? Are they not real? We're simply, my group in Bulgaria is working on the technology. We're just reverse engineering. That's it. And we want to see what we can do and how far we can go. Who's a bit more sensitive. No, Kimberly, if you're more sensitive, that's even better. Now, Luke, you've been doing this protocol for how long?
I've been doing this now for about 2, maybe 3 weeks, missing a couple of days here and there.
Do you want to share your experiences after saying hello to your grandmother?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Dadima, how are you doing?
Okay.
When I initially started, I didn't expect to contact extraterrestrials. Up until this point, I have yet to meet an alien. That is, of course, unless the Men in Black have contacted me and blasted out the memory. But for me, it was just I was looking for a meditation that could help calm me down at night. Because when I'm working on these different projects, my mind's running 24/7. just something to help calm down before sleep. And, I noticed just spending this half an hour each night before bed, some weird things started happening the more I stayed consistent with it. Initially, it was just a little bit more sensitivities to everything else going on around me. There were a couple times I kind of felt like I was floating. But I noticed that the more and more I did it, the more interconnected everything became, the more easy, the more serendipitous life became. And there were just these moments where-
Explain how serendipity, like how does it show up in your life?
In taking that extra time to have that clarity of thought in exactly what we want, and exactly what we're looking for, and calming yourself to a certain level that I believe that meditation helps us come down to. I believe it almost triggers this law of attraction thing a little bit more intensely. And so when you need something in particular in your life, you tend to attract it more. And for me, the last few weeks while I've been using that, it's been just like a complete intensifier of
Emotionally, what do you feel, or mentally, emotionally? Because I think Shimin and Carlos and maybe even Kimberly are a little bit concerned what they're gonna feel emotionally. Is that right,
nothing to
Shimin?
be scared of.
She's not. She's so afraid she can't speak.
Initially, the first couple days, I noticed definitely a slight discomfort because I didn't usually take that extra time to introspect and look at a lot of things that about myself that I wasn't facing. And after those initial 1 or 2 days, it was a really cathartic experience. It was almost effortless. Everything just released from me, and I just felt on top of the world, bright, confident, more able in everything that I was doing. And it's a really weird phenomenon.
Do you want to respond to that? How do you feel about that, Shimin or Carlos?
I'm still doing up my pants.
Yeah, what is that sound? Is he traveling on a motorbike? What?
No. I'm just joking.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So do you have any other questions for Luke? Because he's been the only one here using besides me. I use it for a different reason. And by the way, when I say the protocol, it's you can call it meditation if you want, where I take you into this meditative state. It's not a hypnotic state; it's a meditative state, and where you are very calm. Your brain is in alpha rhythm, and if you want to be able to see beyond the normal spectrum, you want to go beyond red into infrared and beyond violet into ultraviolet. You need to be able to be calmer and to be able to view and sense objects like that. Not a lot of people can do that. Only those who've been through a remote viewing program or class. We'll release it soon when we're ready with the websites and all that. But and it's meant to be free to the world. I want to teach the world for free, for nothing. Because the more attuned you are to these higher forces, the more attuned you are to seeing outside of the normal range, then you begin to realize that the problems that confront you on this earth are not that important. That what is really important are the things you cannot see and cannot feel, that you are changing lives. Even one word of encouragement to someone and changes their life, and you don't see the change immediately. It may happen in a way in which you don't even have a chance to be witness to the change. But somewhere in the future, 20 years from now, they say, because of that one encouraging thing you said to me, my life has changed. I think this is why teachers do what they do, because they don't see immediate gratification. As far as they're concerned, all the students have the minds of a cockroach or something like that. But if you 20 years from now they meet them on the street and say, "Hey, Mrs. Chan, Miss Tan, Mr. Raja, because of you, my life has changed. I've become a this, or whatever the case might be. And so they credit their improvements in life because of that. Kimberly asks or says, amazing. I wouldn't mind feeling that way. I have been practicing relaxation therapy or just hypno myself into safe space. Yes, safe place. Easily. I think you would be beneficial to the whole group because one person's energy can affect the entire group's energy as well. So the reason we are in a group is because there is a group energy that one person can do so much. Can you imagine 10 people, what we could do? But I wouldn't understand how I can communicate without any suggestions. I will be giving the suggestions. So just listen to the sound of my voice as I stand there and tell you guys what to do and so on and so forth. We don't have a facility to play. We do. We have iPhones. What the hell? I was born in a different time. Sorry. Yes, we can play our iPhones or something over there. So we can have music too. So it'll be very, very cool. But you will not be lying down. You'll be sitting up. So just to let you know. Any other questions you might have for tomorrow in case you're worried and upset? So this is still indeed hypno. Well, experience it tomorrow so you'll see what I mean. It's suggestions, basically. The calmer you are, putting you in an altered state of consciousness so that you are aware of your surroundings, acutely aware of your surroundings. And I need you to be more acutely aware because when you get into that state, you generate that energy around you. Indeed, if someone is taking pictures at that time with a flash, you'll probably see tons of orbs around you or around the people. After the meditation, we should do a before picture and an after picture. And then you get an idea. And then when that is done, everyone is wide awake and we're looking around. We're not in a zombie state looking around the sky and this and that. I hope people have brought some sort of infrared cameras of some kind so you can see that, or something that can look into the ultraviolet, or even something that will register EMF fields. There is an app I have that measures EMF fields, so I might use that. I don't know what the lighting situation is, so we're going to check it out. It'll be very interesting. Any other questions? Seems like I'm self-generating the questions. No? Shimin? Carlos still with his pants?
It's still on.
Oh, good. There's no sound now. That's very good. So how how else can I allay your fears about tomorrow's exercise and what we're going to do? What are the...
For me, I will just treat it as a new experience.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
That's a good attitude.
Yeah, because I have never done this before. I mean, I do meditate.
Yeah.
But not at this contacting level.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a new experience for me.
Great.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, it'll be a lot of fun. So your open-mindedness is always key. Keep an open mind. Nobody's asking anybody to believe anything. In fact, I'm the #1 skeptic. If I can't see it, if I can't photograph it, and if I don't feel it, it doesn't exist. It's just somebody heard somebody who heard somebody who heard somebody who said they saw somebody, so it becomes a little bit difficult. It's like people who see ghosts. Have you seen a ghost? Well, let me tell you, nobody knows. I have an uncle who's a father, mother, brother, sister of mine who knows that has seen ghosts and things like that. So when I was on the program Incredible Tales, and I was playing the guy who was the skeptic, I don't know if you guys remember me with the hat on television. And if somebody says they see a ghost, I'm the first one to tell them, no, you didn't really. You're just mentally exhausted and you want to see what you want to see. And so that's why it's there. So you hallucinated the whole thing because you're so tired and exhausted. That's what happened. So what happened to me, my life changed after the Incredible Tales. I think it ran for 3 or 4 years. Every restaurant that I went to, somebody would recognize me from my voice and they'll say, you're the guy. And then he get very upset. He'll throw the cup of coffee on my table, literally throw it on my table, and he say, "I tell you, ghosts are real. They exist." I said, "Have you seen one?" "My sister's brother's cousin's friend saw one, but they're real." So I said, "Okay, thank you. I'm not coming back here for coffee in case you spit in it again." So we don't know. But let me tell you, keeping an open mind is always a good thing. And Kimberly, your ability to feel things is also going to be good, because when you start to feel, then you are not imagining too much. My whole idea to try and keep it as quote unquote scientific as possible is to not lead you into seeing things, because there can be something called confabulation, where I give you a false memory, or even a positive hallucination. You've heard of negative hallucinations. There's positive hallucinations. A skilled hypnotist can make you see pink elephants where there are none. So on and so forth. So this is just to keep you in state, and so that you are vibrating at a frequency that is more, I don't know what to call it, in tune with the frequencies of what you want to contact. And it's funny because a lot of people are saying, why is consciousness part of this alien contact thing and all of that? Because their ships are almost alive. The way they've been constructed in space, they're almost alive. They seem to have an ability to intuit the intentions of the people that they're contacting with as well. So right now in DARPA, Defense Advanced Research Projects Administration in the US, they're working on something called consciousness-assisted technology. Consciousness-assisted technology existed in the creation of the SR-71 Blackbird during the Lockheed Skunk Works program. That was 20 years ago, where the pilot thought of firing a missile, and the missile would fire. So he wouldn't have to press buttons and waste time. Just think of missile one, boom, away, missile two, boom, away, and this and that. And since then, DARPA has come up with things that communicate directly with our nervous and sensory systems. So you can imagine a pilot putting on a helmet that is attuned to his brain. And whatever he thinks, that is what the plane does. So these ships operate on the same kind of technology as well, except that they're far more superior. And the best we can hope out of this is that we get an idea that we are not alone in the universe. And number two, that perhaps we could do some kind of exchange of technology. Who knows? Kimberly says, yep, that's right. I agree. I can't wait to meet you because I'm a fresh hypnotherapist in training. Very good. I've been meeting only stale hypnotherapists, so it'd be nice to meet a fresh one. One more question before I join Eugene's podcast. Will there be any conflict if I fall into trance on my own way before your suggestions? Nah, not at all. You'd be just like the guy in class or the girl in class who kind of looks out the window and forgets what's being done in this place. So it's no big deal. Look, practice, it's not all going to happen. I got to manage your expectations when I meet you guys. Don't expect something to land right in front of you straight away. I mean, you guys are doing it for the first time, so we're breaking you in. So this is going to be a virgin experience. Yeah? Or Shimin, it might be your first or your second, I'm not sure. Virgin experience. I'm kidding. Don't answer that. Don't answer that. Just so.
No, because actually I wanted to say that it's actually like it's gonna be my first time, so I'm not exactly sure what to like anticipate or stuff like that. So I'm just going in with an open mind and just like looking at the experience and
keep an open mind. Remain a skeptic. It's necessary. We need skeptics in the group because we need who else to hold the cameras to take pictures, right? Except the skeptics and so on and so forth. So that would be very cool. And I don't know what Eugene has planned, but let's see what kind of technology he's bringing along. Cool. Great.
Yep.
So, Carlos, do you have any other questions before? I think you guys are about to join Eugene's program. It starts at 10 o'clock, does it?
Yeah, it's at 10.
Okay, that's about 5 minutes more. How nice, eh? People come on this thing and say, okay, I'm done with you guys. I'm going to go to the more interesting one. He does a program. Well, what's his program about? Can you tell everybody, Shimon or Carlos? His 10 o'clock program.
Yeah, it's actually, the program is called Supernatural Confessions.
Yeah.
Where people share their experience on experience that in Singapore, where they encountered all kinds of spirits, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, and then Eugene will dissect it.
Very
Yeah, something
cool.
like that. Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, good. I can see why that's more fun. Here we dissect the psychology of what's today's topic, Luke? It's supposed to be
about the psychology of failure and
failure. How to bounce
using
back
it
from
as a-
failure.
Yeah.
That sometimes have to be reminded. So Luke is going to talk about it. A couple of other people are going to come on board and talk about it. So if you want to stay on this program, you're most welcome to as well. Both of you and Kimberly. So that's where we are. Feel free to ask more questions if you think of them as well. There's nothing to be prepared. Wear long sleeves and short and long pants for the mosquitoes, because if I'm not mistaken, there's a dengue outbreak in Singapore tonight, right? So I don't know. We're doing the COVID dengue, and we want to do what? Are you serious? So I don't know. Maybe it's a chance for us to sit down, get together, and if it becomes impossible to have the whole group together, maybe we can take an MRT ride, a long one. I think we're allowed on the MRT to talk, right? You're allowed 20 people or 50 in an MRT station or a group. I have no idea.
I think in the gathering we are allowed in groups of 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, but on the MRT, I don't think they are able to restrict it.
Okay.
I mean, there are so many people on board the train. Yeah.
So we might carry the discussion into an MRT, and we'll make a big circle on the red line all around the island. A couple of rotations. I think we should already get clear on many things, and then we can get off somewhere. It'll be a lot of fun. Who knows? You know what? Somebody should run a school on an MRT. Think about it. Each compartment would be a school. Wouldn't that be fun? And instead of paying all those internet rates that people charge, what is it, $500 or something like that? What? It's a ticket price, maybe, for an MRT ride. And by the time you finish that whole thing, you'll learn something. Calligraphy or something, and your calligraphy will look really bad, but because of the movement. But when you get more steady, you'll be okay.
It's 10 o'clock.
It's 10 o'clock already, guys. Sorry, that's my little midget in the corner that's always announcing it. I have to hit it on the head and it tells me what time it is. So Luke, why don't you shoot it off with telling us a little bit more about what the concept, how we should be approaching this idea that failure should be we were discussing before that failure should be a part of how we expect life to be, or
I don't remember exactly where we left off last time, but we were discussing the concept of failure, and a lot of people see failure as the opposite of success, and that they're opposing things. I really believe that that failure is just a part of success and a necessary piece of the journey. And I think when we embrace failure from that respect, it's a lot easier, and we're a lot easier on ourselves as we fail throughout life and fail our way to freedom.
And specifically how?
By embracing every failure as a learning experience.
But how? If I lost in a race, I'm gonna feel bad. You know,
Why?
I mean, because I didn't get the prize.
What was your goal, to become the best racer or to get the prize on that day?
You know, the prize. There's this pretty girl that gives you the prize, and that whole experience I don't get because I don't get any prize. Those three winners, the bronze, silver, and gold, they get the prize. No, I'm just kidding. So are you saying that we should think of failure not the way other people think? Like you're a loser, give me some other words for failure. Loser, bad luck person, poor investor, vegetarian, whatever, Do you know vegetarian is a Hindu word that comes from, the translation is poor hunter. I'm just kidding. Just all your vegetarians out there, I apologize. It's funny to me. But yeah, so is that what you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think the lens at which we choose to look at things can either limit us or really open our world.
Cool. I have been trying for the last 15 years with Academy of Success, 20 years with Academy of Success and then with DMG and all of that, to create a school that's independent of the school systems we have. And what we want to do was to teach children, and that can be anybody from, age 9 or 8 to 88, that all the skills that are necessary to be successful, quote unquote, successful in life. Successful meaning to experience not so much failure. Because I, in as much as I think you should handle failure well, expecting failure is not a good thing. Expecting to fail. Today I'm going to enter this race so that I can fail and learn something. No, piss off. I'm not going to try not to lose. I'm going to try my best to win. You know what I mean? So in a sense, fail once, learn from it, don't fail again. I'll tell you why. I know a lot of people are saying that, and I used to say that as well, like a robot repeating all this motivational hoo-has, and when I think about it, they've done everybody a terrible disservice, because if you have that attitude, you can learn from failure. Don't worry. Your self-esteem is okay. It's all right to fail. You learn things, because American Indians pray for failure all the time. You don't want to be with that person when you're on the Apollo mission or something to Mars, because if you fail, you are dead. If you fail in doing what you're doing, you're dead. So I think Apollo 9, or is it Apollo 13, that had a caption on it in its capsule: failure is not an option. So to avoid failure, then, what should we do? Any ideas? Chi-Min, maybe?
Strive to be the best. Approach it with the right mindset. Whatever you do, give 110%. And
I don't know how to measure percents. There's a insect that's in my sleeve. Shit. But anyway, I failed to kill it. I will not fail the next time. It's dead. Let's say that last sentence one more time. Insect overpowered you.
Yeah, completely distracted there. I'm glad you got it, though.
I think so. I'm not sure. So okay. So for me, one of the ways in which I would avoid failure is to be prophylactic in my actions. I don't mean wear a condom on my head, but I mean like preventive. to be preventing a possible failure? What could possibly go wrong? Employ Murphy's Law. What can go wrong will go wrong. And so we prepare for that. So if this happens, I have this thing I'll use. If that happens, I'll do this. And if this happens, I'll do this. And if that doesn't work, I'll do this. And if that doesn't work, I'll do this. That kind of thing. So I have that ready as much as possible. And so when I say as much as possible, this is how I plan. This is how I plan Varna and stuff. This is how I plan everything. It's similar to playing chess. You don't play chess with the whole object of playing chess is not to lose. Is to win, right? The whole idea. Do you remember the times when we were in Chicago playing chess at Oberweis?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. This and just to let you know, Shimin, since you're here, Oberweis is this place in Chicago, actually in Elmhurst, just outside Chicago, 25 miles, where you can get the best milkshake on the planet. I mean, really the best. And my favorite was always butterscotch. Before they had salted caramel, there was butterscotch. And there's nothing quite like butterscotch milkshake, which was so thick and wonderful. And over here, it's a poor excuse. I mean, I went to a place called Swenson's and asked them for a strawberry milkshake the other day. And it's just, okay, this is the milk. Where's the shake? There's nothing. It doesn't look like a milkshake. Do you see that fly drowning? It's drowning because it can. It fell in the liquid. It's not supposed to be liquid, so on and so forth. So I sent it back but I kept the fly because he, saved the guy, became attached to him. So what can I say? So that might be the pet fly. Holy shit. Let's see. I'll find out in a minute. So.
But you killed it, right?
Yes. This is how we get rid of our pets and stuff. I still cannot explain how people can eat their, farmers can eat their own animals when they raise them and, from young and all of that. You have to have a certain mindset.
That's true.
Or even dogs, they eat dogs in Korea, in Taiwan, and all of that. Dog meat. I've not had dog meat. Yeah, but do you know why? Before the Americans came and fought the war in Korea, the Koreans never ate dog meat. Did you know that? One American soldier turned to the other and said, "Hey, I'm dying for a hot dog." And then the Korean said, "What a good idea." Yeah, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I don't know. Sifiso Chimbuzi says WTF about what? Famine? FAMIN? Do you know this person, Shimin?
Nope.
Okay, cool. And Mr. or Miss Shimbu BS LOL. What does that mean?
I'm guessing it's bullshit.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your marvelous thing. Eljana says, I am up to go to take Anelia from the kindergarten. Love you guys. Love you too, Eljana. We will talk one of these days. I saw your pictures that you posted on the beach. I hope you guys had a good chance. Did you get a chance to be with Anelia and family?
I didn't get a chance to see them yet, though.
Oh, okay. One day they'll come back there.
Yeah.
So let's continue on this subject about the failure thing and what we can do to avoid failure. Mine was fairly prophylactic. If something can go wrong, plan for it, plan a recourse and action, and then you'll be okay, and then you'll be all right. And what would you do otherwise if you wanted not to fail? Shimin, what would you do? Yes, you would study.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I've been failing in life, so
Really?
yeah.
Are you open to sharing with people?
I not exactly, but I would say that I'm quite chill about it. So
Okay,
no pressure. Yeah.
great. Are you working now? Is that a an okay question to ask, or is that invasive?
Actually, I'm currently working part time, and
Uh-huh.
I'm doing my part time university studies as well.
Oh, good, good. What are you studying?
Management.
Very cool.
Mm.
So once this COVID thing is over, you're gonna find out that your job is no more then, unless you can do
Um,
remote management, right?
no. Okay. For my part time job is actually it's more of like a F&B cafe style. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Very cool. Very cool.
Okay. For my
Sorry, I'm just putting this up so I can see who is here and who's on the chat. Because some people I are not able to go in and talk to us. Ayusa Korn from and Bing Kapili are from Thailand, and they are watching as well. And some other people I could not see in the chat room, but they have gone before, so we don't have that. So very good. How long before you are ready for a job? You're studying, right? It's final year.
No, I still have another year, so I'll probably end in either August or December next year.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. You must be excited about that. Now with the COVID thing, does it make it harder?
Not exactly. So most of the classes are actually online right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it gets kind of boring from time to time because the teacher is just rambling on and on. So we're just like, nope. I mean, I think it actually disrupts the learning as well because certain concepts we are not able to like get the full picture based on a online session. So yeah,
It's not interactive.
not much because for it's actually for the PDPA disclosure thing that we can't uh like there's no video, so we can only
Yeah.
like ask questions in audio, but certain message is not being translated well.
Right.
Yeah, so I think certain concepts is quite hard to grasp in that sense.
All right. Very cool. Good to know. I know that there are a lot of people that are now going into teaching as a career. And they are taking courses and they're wanting to teach people about these courses as well, various different subjects. And I was wondering if that might be what you might want to do in the future with what you're doing.
Nope, not exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sifiso says that problem in his country is that education curriculum is not aligned with the industry. And the funny thing about that, though, Sifiso, is that the education system was set up to create workers for industry. And so sometimes the education system is so ancient and lagging that they don't keep up with the times. And by the time someone is finished training for 4 years or 5 years to do a job, that job becomes obsolete in 5 years. And a lot of people who are studying for these different jobs are going to find that these jobs are going to be obsolete in a short while. Your management job, Shimin, is very difficult for an AI to take over because you're going to have to make recommendations. You're going to have to be having a lot of experience. So if you don't mind, I can give you some suggestions to do some internships for free. Tell them you're a management student and a graduate. You'd like to have some experience and offer no money. I mean, to take no money. Make sure they pay for lunches or dinners or whatever, so on and so forth, so you're not totally inconvenienced. And from that, you can put that on your resume as well, that you have this internship with, management internship and so on and so forth. So that way they'll pair you up with a management professional in this area that you are going to be working in, and you'll be able to see, you'll be able to separate theory from practice. You know what I mean? Theory from what is practical out there. Sometimes the textbooks tell you do it this way, and the practical aspect of it is it doesn't work. And the only way you'll know that is to go out there, make a mistake, and then you are learning, quote unquote. So in this case, you avoid the mistakes by aligning with somebody who's already made the mistakes ahead of you, so you don't have to repeat them. So that's my advice to you. Do that right now. You'd be surprised what you will learn. Or even now, because of COVID and you can't be in a workplace environment, you can be a virtual assistant to a management professional or a management consultant in that field. And you'd be surprised what you can do with that as well. This is how I get my inroads into the industries where I want to speak or want to train, I want to do something, or when I do a training needs analysis for a company. And I go straight into the CEO and I said, hey, how would you like one of the best minds on the planet working for you for nothing for about a month? And then I'll tell you what recommendations to make. And if you like my work, hire me full time. If not, you just gain 1 month of work for free. Wow, okay, great. Then they start. But I always end up with a contract to do this and a contract to do that and everything else. So because usually it's very, very difficult for people to solve problems. So become a problem solver. And when you become a problem solver, everybody wants you because you have this, what do we call it? Possibility thinking. And so you have to develop possibilities. So yes, some doors will close, some doors will open at the same time. And the people who tell you that, when one door closes, another opens, just slap them in the face and say, get out of my way. I'm going through that door that just closed. And who the hell just closed it? Then you'll be okay. Some people jump out the window when one door closes, but they're 27 stories up. So who knows? Yeah, not a good thing. You want to add to that, Luke?
I'm really not sure how to. Definitely agree with all that. At the end of the day, it's all about providing value, seeing what you can do to help.
And
what was the question?
Do you remember the movie Dude, Where's My Car? Do you remember that? They go to a Chinese restaurant, a takeout restaurant, this Chinese restaurant, and said, okay, we'd like to have the chow mein and with 2 egg rolls and a Coke. And the woman says, and then we'll like to have some dessert and and we'll have that. That's it. And then, and she said, no, there's no and then. I said, no, there is no and then. And then, and she keeps on going, and then they get so fed up, they scream at her, say, if you say and then again, I'm going to go in there and rip your tongue out by the throat, and And there's silence for about 2 seconds, and then the movie ends. Anyway, that just reminded me of that episode, that little scene there. Failure is an orphan. Success has many fathers, but failure is an option. So when we speak of people in business or people in some management capacity or people who studied and achieved their goals of becoming a doctor, lawyer, accountant, give me some more things that people respect and what CEO, this and this and that and that. Those are the quote unquote successors, and people congratulate them and they play them up. Or people who've earned enough money more than enough. A billionaire as opposed to a millionaire, and so on and so forth. Oh, he's a billionaire. I know a couple of billionaires who are stupid as AF, really, and I cannot believe that they are. I mean, if it weren't for their their parents and stuff like that, they wouldn't have that money, and so on and so forth. And I know some of them who are also very kind, very, very humble, and very down to earth, and they help you with a lot of things. Even if they know they are not cash rich at that moment, they will help you with whatever they can. The ones who are sitting on all this pile of cash and things like that, they have some warped idea of what they can do to help you, and so they don't see the humanity within it. They live within their quote unquote principles. And well, there's one billionaire that runs the United States right now, and what more evidence do you need that not all billionaires are alike? You know what I mean? If you want to sit with one billionaire in the world, who would that be that you want to sit down and ask for advice? Not money, but advice. Which would be that billionaire? Both of you, Shimin and Luke.
You want to go ahead first, Shimin?
Ladies first.
Nope.
She said no. You're the third person this week she said no to.
Well, I actually did. I was lucky enough to sit down with a billionaire for a couple of months out in California. Lucky to call him one of my mentors, and I learned a lot from Tim Draper. I think he has an incredible possibility mindset, and very, very humble guy. And I think he's amazingly forward-looking.
So for all the billionaires in the world, he would be the person you want to sit with. I'm talking about people we don't even know sometimes. Who would you like to sit with to learn something from?
I'd love to sit with him. I would also love to sit with Elon Musk. I think that's some next level of possibility thinking. Tim is absolutely brilliant when it comes to his investments and business expertise. But I think when it comes to generating new ideas that just are so completely out there that some people can't even see the reality of them yet, a guy like Musk would be incredible.
And Shimin, who would you sit down with?
I guess for me it would be Warren Buffett.
Great.
Yeah.
Because
I used to study investment as well. So I think it's pretty interesting for some of his advice that he gives to people. So I think given the current COVID and the current pandemic situation, I think it's important to for you to know what to invest as well, and to have at least some form of passive income, I would say. Yeah.
Berkshire Hathaway lost the fund has lost more than $1 billion this year, right? Significantly more than that. And everyone's reeling from this. Sifiso agrees with you, Luke, Elon Musk, and he would sit down with him. He says the future. You want to read this, Luke? You can see this too. Read this.
Oh, I've had mine set on private chat this whole time.
Yeah, go to the public chat.
There we go. The future is uncertain, very difficult to prepare. Everything constantly changes. COVID rendered a lot of jobs redundant. In my country, they're talking IoT and coding, but we have little internet infrastructure. We are still in third world, only starting to industrialize, but globalization is problematic. China.
IoT means Internet of Things. Which country are you in? Is it China? It is, right? Is that what he means?
I assume that's what he means.
Globalization is problematic for China because of its increasing stance in the Pacific Ocean. Uh, uh, what it's doing over there, building islands and all that, reclaiming all that land that is very, very far from China territory and so on and so forth. And I think recently, in February, they nearly not shot down, but caused a plane to be in trouble. One of the spy planes that the U.S. sent into China, and it was late February. And one of these bases, the new islands that they had built out of nothing, they used very, very powerful industrial lasers, military-grade lasers, and shone the lasers into the cockpit, which nearly blinded the pilots. But the pilots recovered. Luckily, they didn't look at the source of where it came from. They would have no eyes at that point. And it nearly caused an international problem. If we had lost that plane, we would have a little bit of a problem. But globalization is difficult, but it's doing it slowly in a very, very concerted manner. Pre-COVID, it started to build the one road, one belt, one road. What's it called? Do you remember? Where they are buying off these routes and ports along the way. And Varna, Bulgaria, is one of the ports that China is discussing with Bulgaria to buy. Billions of dollars. I'm in Africa, but China has a lot of economies of scale. We can't compete due to globalization. We mine resources from the ground. I see. Wow. Okay. It's going to be very, very difficult. Yes, in Africa, but you look at what China has done, it's bought up a lot of Africa and a lot of African industries as well. So, and what they do is very, very simple. It comes in like mafia, and you don't have money? Really? You need money for infrastructure? No problem. We'll lend you hundreds of billions of dollars. And because you couldn't manage it before, we know for sure you're going to default. And when you default, we will take the collateral. And the collateral is always the land, the industry, the resources, or whatever have you. So it's starting to compete and swallow the world whole, which is an interesting strategy. And so post-COVID, I'm curious to see what will happen as well. Let's welcome into the room Mr. Ashok Thakur, the guru.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
The guru of happiness and the guru of love. And he's just fresh from California. But you're joining us from New York. Welcome.
Yes, I am. And I came back on Monday, and there was a big storm over here, like one of the very big ones for many, many years. And
yes,
like 450,000 people lost power. They have restored up to they are still around 175,000 people who don't have a power after a week in this day and age.
Wow.
I have power. I don't have any internet or any TV or anything. And I am quarantined because I came from one of the states which the Governor Cuomo said.
Are you using a speaker? A microphone, sorry?
Are you getting an echo?
No. Are you using a microphone?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
Will you like me to use it? Is there an issue you want?
No, because you are unusually loud.
Oh, okay. I'll slow it down. I'm just excited so much about this, not having anything and trying to figure out how to live life. Is that better?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good. That not so loud. We can hear you. Can you guys hear him? Can you guys hear? See, Shimin just went way back there because it was too loud. So
that's fine. Okay, so
I'm actually on earpiece, so I think it doesn't matter.
Oh, she's on the earpiece, so she'll take it out. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
Sifoso says they're buying our land debt and they own most of U.S. debt. They do, and I'm waiting to see what happens when the default comes in. FINW, M. Saud Faisal. What does FINW mean? I don't know. He'll clarify in a short while when he joins us. So, Ashok, tell us a little bit more. Today's topic, we're talking about how to take the stigma out of failure. That it's good, it's okay to fail, but we don't want to fail. I just brought in a new thought. You know how we've been saying before, and I know I wrote it in the Meta Secret. It's okay to fail. Everybody must fail. But after a while, you just piss off. I don't want to fail anymore. I want to succeed all the time. So how do I do that? And what do we need to do? And so Shimin says, prepare ahead of time for what could be a problem issue. Meet it with a solution immediately so that if it does happen, you've got a solution. You're not trying to generate it out of thin air. Luke said he agrees. In fact, Luke agrees with both of us. And he keeps agreeing with all of everything we say so far.
He's trying to be a nice husband, agree with everything.
No, he's been trained very well. He's been trained very well, of course. Yes. He's an agreeable guy. Just.
So I mean, the thing is, it's failure. Like you cannot plan for everything. Like people plan for the failure and see what you are going to do. See, when I was going to.
No. The speed remains the same. The volume.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I've gone to, like, on my visit to California and to Arizona, to Sedona and everything, I knew I had to quarantine when I come back, right?
Mm-hmm,
But when I come back, I said, okay, what I will do is I'll watch my personal development videos and this, and I'll do this. I'll watch on Netflix the series which I never had time to watch. But so I prepared for that. But what I didn't prepare for, having no internet, so that means no Netflix, nothing. I cannot even do WhatsApp call because it's very choppy, so I didn't prepare for that one. But like once I came across that at that point in time, and I said, well, what can I do? And I picked up the books, which I wanted to read for a while. I did more meditation. So I mean, it's okay. Like you can prepare for the failure, but like how many things you are going to prepare? Like things they go more bad and bad. So it depends on how do you define failure. Like my definition of failure is very different from the normal definition. I don't consider it anything as a failure because my expectations from a certain outcome are not that much tied up to failure or success. My expectations are, okay, I'm going to do this, and that doesn't work. At that point in time, in that moment of now, I will decide what other options I have rather than planning for 20 different options.
We had a guest on this. We still have a guest on. He was talking about his future. He said the future is uncertain. This was a while back. Very difficult to prepare. Everything constantly changes. COVID rendered a lot of jobs redundant. And in my country, he's in Africa somewhere, they're talking IoT, Internet of Things, and coding. But we have little internet infrastructure. We're still in third world, only starting to industrialize, but globalization is problematic. And then brackets China. He continues by saying, USA will never default. Their debt is dollar denominated, so the Fed can print away. Future generations will have to pay the debt, and unless we move to crypto or gold standards, then the world will have a problem. But the world can't afford for US to default. They must keep on consuming. That's one point of view. There are several economists that have different points of view as well. And the crypto thing is something that people think is going to be a salvation for them. In your job, Sifiso, you might want to take a note of Ashok's job. He is a CEO of a cybersecurity firm. Is that correct, Ashok?
Yeah, that is correct.
In New York. So his job is to pay attention to what can go wrong long before anything goes wrong. And so as a result, he's prepared for all of that. So would you want to say something about how you see the Internet of Things affecting jobs and coding and AI taking over certain jobs?
Well, I mean, there were always jobs which have been changing. Like when I got into the computers way back, they said, okay, like this is the PC which is going to change the world, and then the PC changed into something else, and then the internet came along, and that changed into something else, and people were
Mhm.
always saying, oh, now computers can do a lot of work, so you are going to lose your job because many of the things people can do. But no, you don't lose your job. You innovate in that moment. You cannot predict the future, obviously, but you can innovate in the moment. So everything, when they started changing, I started changing. I started not even changing. I started adapting to that in that moment, rather than thinking about 100 different things which can go wrong and how do I prepare for
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
I started, when that problem came, I sat down and said, how can I adapt myself to the newer technology, to the newer things? And when the Google came in, lot of people said, oh, now people have got all the technical answers in Google. So Ashok, your job will be obsolete. No, because my job was never obsolete, because who put in that information into the Google? People like me. I put in the information in the Google.
Mhm. Mhm.
So my job is still there. And when they go through, they have got all this information and they cannot make sense out of that. Guess who do they come to? They come to me. They ask me like, oh, we don't know what to do.
Mhm.
They
Mhm.
tried everything. So when they tried everything, I know that at that point in time, they came to me. I can charge them a high rate because they tried everything. I give you an example. Like I had a big bank, international bank as a client. And at that point, there were two networking companies. I'm talking like 10
Yeah.
years ago or something like that, Novell and Microsoft.
Hold
And
that
they
thought for hold that thought for 1 second, Colin. Welcome to the show. If you are seeing the link below, just click on that link and join the discussion. Yes, sorry, go on.
so at that point in time, they were having a problem where they were trying to integrate these 40,000 international users into one system of the directory, where it is very common now, but it was very uncommon. And they tried Microsoft and asked their engineers that they couldn't do it. They tried this other company, Novell. They couldn't do it. So then they came to me, and I was able to ask them whatever rate I wanted to, because I knew how to integrate them. And when I've gone in there, uh, in the meeting for that, the CEO asked me like how much it is going to cost, and I said it's going to cost you like $60,000. And he said, how many hours it is going to take? I said, well, why does that matter to you? And he said, no, I want to know how many hours it's going to take. I said, it's going to take like 40 hours, right? And he said, are you kidding with me? You are going to charge me that much for 40 hours? And I said, no, I'm not kidding. That's what I'm going to charge you. And he said, well, I can get a Microsoft engineer for $200 an hour. And so that will be $8,000 and $60,000. And I said, and you are telling me you did not try that already? And he said, oh, well, I can get an engineer from Novell for 200. I'm like, you already tried that. That's why you came to me. I know that. I don't know that as a fact, but I know that you tried exhausted all the options. That's why you came to me.
Mhm.
So I adapted, and he said, well, I cannot understand. You will be getting paid more than me on an hourly basis. And I said, okay, so thank you. And he was like, so you're just going to walk out of the meeting and walk out of this project? I said, of course, respectfully, I'm going to. And he called me back and he said, what do you need? So that is called the adaptation in the moment.
Yeah.
I got that project. But I
That's
couldn't
called
have planned
sales.
for that.
Yeah.
There is no way you can plan for all the failures. And also, what is the definition of the failure? Who defined it? Did we define it? Did the society define it? Did your work define it? How it is defined, that definition.
Here's a good question. Here's a good question for you, from Sifiso, who says, is Ashok acknowledging that robotics and mechanization has generally displaced a lot of workers? Yes, one can't stop progress, but it is important to have an ecosystem and environment that will be conducive to support workforce to pivot and adapt. You want to respond to that?
You can keep on thinking about the ecosystem and all the other things, but then you are depending on other people doing something for you to support you. Why don't you do something to support you? And then all the other things you can adapt to them. I mean, if I'm sitting over here and I think president of my country or whoever, all these politicians are going to do something for me, I'm already putting my success on somebody else's, which has got a different agenda than mine. My agenda is to live life fully. Okay, so I'm not going to depend on all these systems. Of course, it is nice to have that, but if that doesn't happen, I will do my things to make me successful and to make me successful for people around me, for my community, whoever want to come to me and take my guidance on that one. I'm not depending on some person sitting somewhere in a White House or a glass house or wherever in the world to define how my success is going to be defined. I'm not going to, and I don't define my success. And that's a failure and success. Again, I don't define my success just by the money you have. It as long as I have enough money for survival to pay my rent and to have a food and a shelter.
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that, because how would you counsel someone who has moved or is now forced to move from a glass house to a grass house because that's all they can afford, and a robot has taken their job? What advice would you give that person?
Well, I mean, I don't know their particular situation, but I'm sure if they sit down and think about it.
Generally, a robot takes over. Let's say I'm that person. I'm doing these podcasts, and now an AI robot is taking over. And all it does, it asks questions until you cannot tell what is real and what is not. How do you know this person looking at you right now is not a robot?
So then learn how to program the robot, and then
because the real Mel Gill is now unemployed because the robot Mel Gill just took over.
So Mel Gill is always going to find another job. There is nobody in the world who can replace what you have. That means advising people.
I know a string of women in my lifetime who will disagree with you. I was replaced.
Well, that is always the case, but that wasn't your failure. That was your success, so that you can move on to the next beautiful woman.
Okay, the next failure. Okay, good. Thank you so much for the optimistic view of the world.
Yeah, but
Sifiso is replying to you, I think. He's saying, yes, one must take ownership. I can't dispute this, which is what you said. You take ownership. The U.S. is a great country because of culture and ecosystem that supports innovation and entrepreneurship. Elon moved from my country to USA as he saw the importance of ecosystems. So now we know Sifiso is from South Africa.
We cannot we cannot depend on some person deciding our life. You know, like even though they can to a certain extent, but like not to that extent where my happiness depends on what the politician does it in the Congress or on the Senate. And yes, people move to US, right? Yes, if it is get that crazy, I'll move to another country. Like, what's the big deal? I'll go anywhere in the world. You know, like I will go. Like if I don't have like all these people who are stressed out, or they are lacking their success onto all the money they have it, and that is because you forgot how to live a minimalistic lifestyle, which is needed to support you. I mean, I know that if everything over here fails, then I don't have enough money to survive in there. I'll go to some country. I'll go to Bali or some other country where it is much cheaper to live, like much cheaper to live. Even the rent I paid for my apartment, I can live like.
This is where Luke looks like he's about to give you an invitation. Go ahead, Luke.
Okay. Luke, you are on.
You're welcome here in Bulgaria anytime.
There you go.
Much cheaper here.
Right. So what I'm
everything is relatively inexpensive in Bulgaria. Luke and his fiance was stuck in New York with my daughter, his sister, for 3 months. How this you can't see it, but this is the one that's been in my sleep. It's followed me from upstairs. Can you see it? Can you guys see this? No, I can't. I gotta hold it up. It's a beetle. You see that?
Oh, it loves you.
Ah, that's good luck.
It followed me from upstairs. Yeah, good luck, my ass. It's been biting me. Anything that bites me is good luck. So you guys, Luke, you're gonna host this while I take this guy outside, okay?
Yeah, no worries at all.
Keep on talking.
But you are not going to go outside.
I can't hear you now. Luke, start.
Before coming back here to Bulgaria, we had planned to go visit my family for about, it was only supposed to be 2 or 3 weeks. And, with the whole lockdown, we ended up getting stuck there for about 3.5 months. And we had not budgeted for that. Here, everything is 1/5 the price.
Yeah.
So
all the
makes
people
a
who are
difference
stressed.
over time.
Yeah, so all the people who are stressed about, like I see the biggest stress to the people, at least over here, like the biggest stress to the people is like, oh, they cannot financially support them. But then I ask them, do you need a Porsche car? Do you need a freaking big house in Malibu? Do you really need those things? You keep on because you were making more money, you keep on accumulating all those things and started putting the expenses. Now, if you are making less, adapt to it. Okay, get back that Porsche back, move into a single apartment. If that doesn't do, move into another country. Like I've got no financial stress, even though my business is down by 98% in this COVID time for the last 4 months. It's 98% down. So I'm literally at a point where what do you do? But I'm not stressed about that. I'm like, okay, if this thing doesn't come back and I have to live on a $2,000 a month, I will go where I can live happily for $2,000 a month, which is in Bali, for $2,000 a month, you can have a good house, you can live there. You can have a maid who comes and cleans and whatever else your dad is going to say. But the thing is, you can live happily. So if the point is
immediately after I put the beetle out, I don't like killing things, right? So immediately after I put the beetle out, a tiny lizard fell on my foot. It's like, what? I'm for some reason I've already started this attracting of insects and stuff, and now I'm expecting a snake to show up. Sorry,
well, it must be all that CE5 meditation. You're just attracting the good energy.
Oh yes. Shimin, I forgot to tell you.
Okay. Hopefully the snake doesn't show up tomorrow.
Well, whenever you open your third eye and you start to see things beyond the normal range of vision, certain reptiles like snakes are attracted to that kind of vibration. So they do show up. That's why in the old Hindu, Buddhist, Christian literature as well, you see the snake as being a very important part. It's like hanging above the head of the hoo-ha, protecting him or her. Well, I don't know what to call them. Holy people, Buddhas and Christ and all of these things. So the vibrational aspects are there. It starts to increase there, but you'll see it for yourself. And they don't bite because they're not in a mood to to they just love you. And this one went. This beetle was in my sleeve, and it just went down and just said hi. So I left it outside. If it comes back, oh, holy
Well,
shit!
it's supposed to be your pet, right?
Pet? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I did say no. I meant I want to pet it. Different story altogether. Yeah. Probably has the world's smallest penis for all you know. So much for petting. I'm sorry. What did I miss so far? You said living in Bali was inexpensive.
I said like most of the people are stressed about the finances, and the finances are how you live your lifestyle. Like if you have a Porsche and you've got a big house in Malibu, yeah, you are going to be stressed. And
Mhm.
but now if you are not making any money, like my business is 98% down. You can downsize. You can get a regular car which takes you from one place to another, and you can get a 1-bedroom apartment somewhere else. And if that doesn't work, you can go to some another country. You can live
And
with
you
the
can
money
move
you
in,
have.
and you can move in with Luke. So
I can move
it's
in
one
with
of the least. Do you know living in Varna is cheaper than living in Bali?
Oh, I'm sure it is, and it has got a good energy. It is. And I know all these Bollywood people go shooting movies over there, so it must be cheaper over there. Everything
Very,
has to
very.
be right.
You know Sylvester Stallone's movie, The Expendables. You know, there's
Right.
Expendables 1, 2, and 3. When I first moved to Bulgaria, it was 2012. I was there 2011, 2012. I was staying in for about 2 months or 3 months in an apartment building on the 12th floor overlooking the Vitusha Mountains. Beautiful. And right below me on that same street, they were shooting Expendables, the first one. And you know Adi and Milan from Adi Cooking Books, they were a catering firm, and they exclusive catering firm, and they ran this interesting restaurant that was exclusive. You cannot come unless you're invited or you have a reservation like months ahead. And so they were catering for the crew, and so they invited me to come because they were my students, you know, in my master trainer certification program. And so I met the entire cast and all of this, had a nice long chat with who's the MMA guy? Randy Couture was my good friend. And then the lead actress was quite a bit drunk and all of that. So we exchanged phone numbers and we had lots of fun. So anyway, long story short, you can have a lot of excitement in Bulgaria because the movie, even though it had a $75 million budget, was shot for $35 million. And we're talking a lot less, 40%, 30% of its original price. And so most movies that are in the $30-40 million range are now less than 10 million to make in Bulgaria. And I know the guy who has all the sets and everything.
You are doing a good job of bringing all the money to Bulgaria. You may be the next tourism minister for Bulgaria or something like that. You are promoting it so good. But I know it is.
No, but to certain people I don't, because a lot of relatives who keep asking, you know, is it beautiful and this and that? No, yeah, it is. It's gorgeous. There's the Black Sea. And say, why is it called the Black Sea? Because people go in white, they come out black. You know, and why do they do that? They said because of all the oil. So please come, because you know Monday, Wednesday, and Friday we clean up the Black Sea and the beach. So come. We could use all the help, and they never show up. So the relatives you don't want. Yeah,
it is beautiful till they come over there. And then it's horrible for you.
and you see, Luke is there right now in the summer where the beaches are, you know, clothing optional. People are not wearing much. Trust me. I don't like it when it's crowded because the whole world descends there. I go about October or the end of October when it's getting cold, and you know your nipples freeze off on the beach when you're there anyway, so nobody ever comes. And all the visitors are gone, and only the residents, the real residents of Varna are there. And it's amazing. I mean, what Costas, you know, Costa Coffee? What Costa do you go to where the manager comes out from behind the counter, gives you a big hug and say, Mel, it's so good to see you? No country in the world.
It's because you feel you belong there. You know, like it's the sense of community,
No.
the tribes, and all those
No,
things.
I don't belong anywhere. I don't belong on this planet.
Oh, he think you belong there. That's why he was like, "Oh, here's my buddy Mel Gill." So
No,
at least
everybody is my family, sir. Everyone.
yeah, but that's what from your perspective, from his perspective, the person who is the manager in the cafe, he considers you as a tribe and a family because you are there. That's why he
Yeah,
comes in and he give you a hug, and that is
yeah.
another aspect of the things. It
Or
is
it
like
could be that I drink way too much coffee there and I spend too much
yeah,
money on doing that.
and
That's
you
probably it.
you are probably 50% of his income for the day. So
Probably for the year.
yeah.
Elizabeth Unger says, "Hi guys, I've been tuning in and out of work, in and out of work. In the beginning, you guys were talking about the psychology of failure, and I would love to hear a little bit more about that. I have a question for Ashok. You are always so bright and bubbly. That is so admiring. I'm curious about how you overcame failure in your life." So there are 2 or 3 questions there. And then on top of that, Sifiso says, talking about these cheap countries, what is the per capita income and GINI coefficient from a living cost of view? I assume cheap is relative.
Yes, of
My
course,
relative, the only question I can answer in Sifiso's thing is, yes, my relatives are cheap. But other than that, I didn't understand any of that. I'm not an economist. I'm a psychologist. If you have a brain problem, I can help you with that. So that would be a question someone like Luke or Ashok or maybe even she's a management consultant trainee, right? And if we know the answer, do you know the answer to that, Luke? I have no clue about Barna.
I have no idea. I just look at my wallet at the end of each month, and it's a hell of a lot better here.
So then let Ashok answer the question for Elizabeth.
I have the answer for that. All the question he asked, you know, per capita income and all that stuff. I have one answer for that. That's Google.
That's what?
Google
Google.
it. It will give you all the information. And you know that it's not that I researched every country in the world. And when I was saying Bali, I wasn't just talking about Bali. It could be Costa Rica, or it could be Mexico, or wherever you want to live in. Or it could be somewhere in America where the things are much cheaper. Like I know the downtown New York is 5 times more expensive than if you go to uptown near Syracuse. So you could find your own place wherever you want to, wherever you fit, and you can adjust where your skills can be utilized
So
and make you enough income.
This is a classic Ashok answer. It's amazing. This is how he does his seduction. Just Google me, baby. Google me as much as you like.
Yeah, that the Google meaning has changed after this Google, the search company came to that. The Google used to mean
So Elizabeth's question. I would love to hear more about the psychology of failure, because I think we failed at talking about failure. And but I have a question for you, Ashok. You're so bright and bubbly. So what makes you? It's 11 o'clock. So how are you so bright and bubbly?
because okay, is that the? Are you splitting the questions, or is that all the questions? I mean, psychology of failure.
The other question is how you overcame failure in your life.
So I redefined failure for me. Okay,
How?
I totally redefined my definition of failure for me. I choose not to go with the typical definition of failure, which is given to me by my society, my parents, my teachers. I define failure for myself, and for myself from my point of view. Nothing is a failure. It's just you are doing the things what you are doing, and I learned it by the experiences. Like some of the things which you consider failure are not in the sense. Like I give you a simple example because there are a lot of complex concepts otherwise which we have to explain. I gave this proposal to one of my clients, which was like $250,000, and I did whatever. I did my best effort to get it, and I did not get it. And so I worked really hard on that one. So when I did not get it, they said, no, you don't have it. We choose another vendor. And I asked, and I said, so was my price higher? Were you not confident about my talents to do the job and everything? And I did ask them, and they said, so the IT, like a CIO said, no, it was none of that, but it was like, because one of the partners, his brother-in-law decided to be in computer business, and he got the job. And so now, rather than attacking all the other things with that failure, I'm like, okay, I'm not his brother-in-law, and I understand it. He want to give it to his brother-in-law. So that was not a failure for me. And then going a little bit further, like even though they had like a lot of cash at that, in 10 days, okay, not even 10 days, like it was probably a couple of weeks, I heard that company has declared bankruptcy because they burned all the cash which they have it in that company. And so I was like, oh, that wasn't a failure, actually. That was a success for me, because if I would have given them all the equipment worth $250,000, I would have lost that money. So I know that
They wouldn't have paid you, yeah.
It takes a little bit of a trust too at that time, that universe is watching what is happening, and it's never given failure. It's giving me, nudging me to go toward the success in a different way, which is not like I cannot comprehend it with my limited consciousness. Yeah. So
being from Thailand, just from Thailand, I think, or Philippines, I'm not sure, just summarized you. She said, Ashok always focuses on the positive.
And that is true, but it's not that I'm not aware of the other possibilities. I just don't focus too much on that. I know there are negatives available, because without the duality, positive have got no meaning. And so I'm aware of that. It's not that I'm totally oblivious and say everything is right, everything is good, everything is going to happen. I'm aware of that, but I'm not focusing too much of the attention onto that. I'm focusing the attention on the positive, and whatever happens, I know that it's a matter of perspective. I can give it a positive spin, like I just did it to that project which I didn't get it. And you can do that too. Everybody can do that.
A positive spin.
Yeah.
So we could do this with any failure. We just put a positive spin on it, except for erectile dysfunction. No,
you can put a positive spin on that one too. And I can discuss that in a, because like if you don't want to go sleep with this person, you can say I got an erectile dysfunction, so you can get away with that. Like rather than saying it's not you, it's me, you can say that.
I'm just suggesting that
it's easier.
What?
If it's not hard, it's easier.
Literally.
I think Luke's. You know the old expression, "A good man is hard to find." I think Elizabeth has it the other way around. A hard man is good to find. But that's a different story altogether.
I was talking with one of my friends actually last night, and she said, I'm done with all this dating apps and this websites and going, meeting people and everything. Where are all the good men? And I said, with your progressive attitude and all the lists you have, you killed all of those good men. I said, she said, no, but I see the good men around. I said, those are the ones which survived, which you kept it for the semen. Because you want to keep some, you want to keep on progressing and making babies and moving the generation, but you killed all the good men, because every time you find a man, you find some fault with him.
Luke had this T-shirt. Luke had this T-shirt. Is he frozen, or is he having a moment?
A little bit. A quick meditation.
Quick meditation. I was just gonna tell everybody that if maybe I'll just remove him for a second until he gets himself together. I was just gonna tell him that Luke had a T-shirt for the longest time, and that said, "No, I'm not Mr. Right, but I'll F you until he shows up." I don't know how many women agreed with that, but who says? But Bing says she's from Philippines, but now I'm in Singapore. Oh, welcome to the island. I'm also in Singapore at the moment. See, Fiso says, with the view of the pursuit of the utmost and continuous improvement, are benchmarks helpful, or can this lead to unhealthy comparisons? The inventor of light bulb is said to have failed several hundred times on his design until he succeeded. Was this him embracing failure, or was he refusing to fail? You know, there's the old, hey, welcome back, sir. Something wrong with your internet. Yeah, Ashok? Something is...
I'm going through automated system.
Okay, we'll let you handle that. I'll answer Sifiso's question here. The fallacy has been that Edison invented the light bulb. He didn't. There were several other people who have the patent on the light bulb. They had it. What Edison did was to improve on that design. He didn't do it 99 times and all that. He failed 99 times. Those are all anecdotal, motivational hoo-ha that people came up with. It's all crap. But he was a person who was very commercial, and he wanted something he could sell. And so he took that design, literally, without paying for the patent fees and all of that. He was literally a commercial thief, just to let you know who he was. The real person who contributed to society and to inventions and electricity and all of that was Nikola Tesla, who actually worked for him for a time in improving his DC motor. Edison believed in DC current, direct current, and so as a result, he had a motor that he told Edison he'll pay him $50,000 to improve on. Now, $50,000 in those days is a lot of money. Of course, Edison didn't pay him at all. And Nikola Tesla just got rid of that. And he, after that, I think there's a movie out right now. I think it's AC/DC or something like that, where, no, that's a group. Where it shows the struggle between Tesla trying to show how AC current is more, alternating current is much better than DC current, and is able to help entire cities where DC currents actually fail. And Edison actually went out and electrocuted dogs and horses to show people how dangerous it was with alternating current. He even electrocuted and killed an elephant to do that. I mean, that's, I think, is beyond measure, not a good thing to do. I'll bring Ashok on when he gets into the back end here. Shimin, did you have any other questions? Or Luke, can you help answer the question? Sifoso, and maybe the first one.
About benchmarks, yeah.
Yeah.
From my point of view, I think benchmarks are a tremendous tool, but it's not something to be completely hell-bent on. So in other words, set measurable benchmarks, set measurable goals, but if for some reason you fall short on one of those goals or something doesn't line up exactly the way you planned, it's all about having that right attitude in the moment and not declaring that as an absolute failure, but taking it forward with the same positive attitude that, Ashok's been showing all the way, and just keep moving forward until you hit the next one and the next one, and the next one. And, these slow progressive goals is what gets you to that end goal.
And benchmarks are plastic as well. You have to be adaptable. And depending on what outcome you want, those benchmarks will change as well. When someone says you put the mark very high, you raise the bar on something, that's what they mean by that as well. You raise the bar in a relationship, you raise the bar in a tool that you use at some point, or even in achieving certain objectives. So benchmarks will change. And again, some benchmarks become obsolete. A good example would be where, say, for instance, when they told everybody that no one could break the 1 minute mile, the 4 minute mile, that no one can run the 4 minute mile. It's humanly impossible, until one person, Roger Bannister, decided to show them that it's possible. And since then, after people saw that it was possible, and he created a benchmark, people have started running the mile in a lot less than 4 minutes. And same with Mount Everest. And, nobody said it could be climbed. And here was Edmund Hillary, who decided, and his words exactly, and I'm not making it up, he says, "I will climb this bitch." This is what he said, basically. And so he did. And he showed people that he could do it without oxygen, without, all the oxygen tanks, and, all these people have oxygen tanks thrown all over the place. Literally the whole side of Everest, the north face, is filled with all of these discarded oxygen tanks and garbage and dead bodies. We're talking about more than 184 people who did not succeed. And I guess the only plus and positive in that is, if you cannot afford a cryogenic program to freeze yourself until future generations can thaw you out and cure whatever illness you have, climb Mount Everest. At some point, they're going to recover your body and do the same thing, and you'll be cryogenically okay. Unless global warming.
And the keyword is at some point.
At some point, yes, that's right. You start to fall apart. So, Noraini, welcome to the studio. You missed a lot. Ashok was doing most of the talking. Shimin was writing notes, and Shimin's job is to decide which one of us gave the most to this discussion.
Right.
And if we win, we get that pillow that she's hugging. I think tomorrow. I'm not sure, but we'll see. We'll know tomorrow. Oh, look at it! It's an elephant.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, reminds you of this guy, Edison, doesn't it? Elephant killer. I had answered the question about Nikola Tesla and Edison and the difference between them. And Sifiso was talking about making unhealthy comparisons. We could apply it to business. We could apply it to investments. We could apply it to love. And if you make unhealthy comparisons in love, you can be headed for a disaster, right? Ashok?
So yeah, of course. I didn't heard the whole expression, like the whole conversation about the unhealthy comparison, but it's
it just started. Yeah. I'm applying. Just started. We just applied it to love.
Why are you even comparing yourself with something else? What's the reason?
That's a good question.
I'm just curious. I don't compare myself with anything.
Sifiso brought it up, so we're just regurgitating.
No, but like I'm coming to that point. Like why do we compare? Because that's when we start comparing, that's when your unhappiness and failure and success and all these definitions start coming. I'm a unique expression. Like I am what I am, and what you define. That Ashok is a failure or success does not matter to me. It's what I define I'm a failure or success. And I choose to define myself as a success every day. I choose to define myself that I'm successful in everything. I'm successful in my relations. I'm successful in my finances. I'm successful in that I'm independent. I can do whatever I want to do within limits, of course. Now I'm quarantined, so I can't do all these things. But why are we comparing? Like that's where we bring in all this failure, success, and unhappiness, all those things. Like it's I understand the duality is the one which defines how good we are. but that's a very limited definition of your happiness. That's not where it has to come from. Like some people, like okay,
But if people are not as enlightened as you, they would have this living on the earth and comparing themselves always with other people. Like a husband and wife would come up to the door and they bye honey, have a nice day at work, and then turns around, sees the neighbor and says to the husband, why can't you be like her? Why can't you be like him? Because he kisses the wife like that, and so on and so forth. And so she says, you want me to do that? Why can't you do that? So she wants that. And so he goes over and kisses that woman because that's what she said. And so on and so
he
forth.
goes and kisses the neighbor.
Or what could be the one thing your wife or girlfriend can say to you that will make you happy and sad at the same time? What is that one sentence?
Well, I'm waiting for your answer. I guess you have the answer to that.
Yours is the biggest penis among all your friends.
I don't know. Maybe they. Well, I mean, that's not necessarily making me sad, because maybe she is walking around on that nudist beach in Bulgaria, and that's how she saw all the penises of my friends. So I can give a positive spin on that one too.
But some people have growers.
Yeah, but like I can also say the size doesn't matter.
Shimin, do you need an explanation for this?
Well, I guess it's just a matter of perception.
Yeah, she put in some. Okay.
She has been on those beaches, boy. That's the one. I've seen her behind the rock looking at this. And, oh, I never knew it came so small. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it's
see. So what I'm saying, tongue in cheek, is that the man is proud that his is the biggest penis, but then at the same time he starts to ask himself the question, how the hell does she know? And so there's the question of fidelity and so on and so forth. So
yeah, but like coming to all those things, like wouldn't you be happy with, like, I had this question coming up so many times, and
which question?
In the relationships too, like you're like, okay,
I thought we're still on the penis thing.
Oh, you moved on. You are the one who brought that up.
No, I didn't know we moved on, but I mean,
okay,
look,
so move on. Let's not do that.
So we're done with the penis thing. Okay, yeah.
Okay, done with the penis thing. Okay,
yeah,
what is the next one?
Sifiso says, a curveball question for Ashok. What is self-improvement? Improvement from what? Why is he improving?
Well, I mean, it's not improving yourself. It is to be living the life and being alive in every moment. We are not improving from something. It's not that we are at a certain level. We are just moving on to in the life where we are alive, living this life, and the continuation of that, making you happy and joyful, is what it's the journey, like everybody says. Like, and it's not improving. Oh, well, let me take it back for a second. Like, so what if you think that this is certain part of your life which you want to do something different than what you are doing right now, and that is, you can call it improvement or you can call it different, but I call it like, so if I'm not good at speaking, you can call it, okay, I have to improve my speaking skills. I consider it, I'm trying to enhance my speaking skills because I already have these speaking skills, and what you are defining or the society is defining where I am, that's where I'm defining. But I'm not improving anything like with the lack of, like, I'm at a certain level and I have to go. I'm like, it's not more hierarchical or what.
It sounds like you're trying and working very hard to avoid the comparison thing. You cannot help but compare, even with speaking skills. Where are the benchmarks unless you have comparisons? You want to be better, a great speaker like who? Like what? And all of that, right?
Right. I mean, and I mean, there is going to be going to be comparison in your mind or other people's mind, but I'm saying that shouldn't make you sad. That shouldn't make you unhappy. That shouldn't make you depressed. That I don't have the skills of what Tony Robbins have it, but I have many other things which he
I'm
doesn't.
beyond him. I'm better than him.
I'm no better. I'm different than him. I'm no
You
better.
what?
He's no better than me. He's no better than me. I'm no better than him. I'm different than him.
No,
I
he's
have
he's a lot better than you.
no. It's not. It's not. I'm saying I'm different. I'm not better or worse. So being
That
different means
every loser talks like that. That's terrible. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But when you walk into his universe,
Right.
it's a dog eat dog world. The motivation world is a dog eat dog world. There's very
course.
little support except for people who pay you. Literally, these people charge a shitload of money, and there's hardly enough time. And so these motivational hoo-has tell you that you are lacking something, and you don't have enough money, you don't have enough love, you don't have enough respect, you don't have enough this and this, you don't have enough fame, you don't have enough that. So come here, I will give it all to you because I have it, and I'm
Come.
going to show you, and so on and so forth. So a lot of people are drawn into that, and so they want to have the jet. They want to have the approval. Everybody's looking for validation, and that's what it's all about. And it trickles down into relationships. It trickles down into parenting, and so on and so forth as well. So, but we do need a benchmark, because otherwise, if you want to make the kind of money that that person makes, then you have to be a certain way. Then you have to be at a certain level. If you want to be able to command a certain number of people to talk to you, then you must be of that mindset where it is entirely possible for you to do so. That's why you are the guru for love, and because you are a live demonstration of how this love is easy, polyamorous as it is, and so on and so forth. But it's easy. It's if you're not into this, you don't like me, it's okay, no problem. There are 3 billion more waiting for me. That's a good attitude to have.
Yeah, I mean the compare when you do the comparison and you feel the lack of something, that's where I have the issue with. I don't have an issue with the comparison, and I have the issue with when you compare with somebody and say I don't have that. That
Yeah, but
doesn't matter.
the lack comes from childhood. It comes from being raised by ignorant teachers who were raised by ignorant teachers who were raised by ignorant teachers who were raised by ignorant teachers. And so they make you feel less than. If you were brought up in a Singapore school, oh my God, just the fact that you even are positive is a big shout out to your ability to survive. Isn't that true, Sheeman?
I guess maybe that's why I'm such a pessimist.
She says she's a pessimist.
Why you are a pessimist?
She focuses on pessimism. Tell us.
But
So-
I'm pretty
She's
chill
so
with
I
that
have
though.
pretty chill with that.
Yeah, I'm just like, if things don't go my way, I'm just like, I'm fine with it. I'll just move
Things
on.
are not. Let me give you a news. Things are not going the way even for Donald Trump, who is the president of America. So, when you say it's not going your way, things don't go away for even the what we consider so-called the very successful people in the world. So that is not a reason to be pessimist.
Yeah,
Because
but things are not going his way because he's an idiot. Complete.
it's okay.
100%.
Very true statement.
Dunning-Kruger effect. You ever
Yeah,
heard of the
but-
Dunning-Kruger effect?
Or say, let's take the idiot part out. Things are not going the way Dalai Lama either. I mean, he's exiled from his
who?
country. Dalai Lama.
Delilah? Oh, the
No.
Dalai Lama.
Right.
Okay, Dalai Lama and Delilah are two separate people. I just who is Delilah? What the hell is wrong with her?
Okay.
Dalai.
But
The emphasis was on the wrong syllable. Sorry.
Right. All
The
right.
Dalai Lama, yeah, no, he's fine. He's happy in his dharamsala, sitting there
Right.
giving. The last few days, I don't know if you know it, last 3 weeks, he was giving a course,
Right.
online course on
Every day.
enlightenment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. But like the things are not exactly going the way he will like it to go. Like he's exiled from his country,
Mm.
and now he's in India and all those things, and he's in exile. So that is something which she talking to you, because like that is something. What I meant to say is like things don't go their way for one of the biggest people and very powerful and very enlightened people too. So when you say you're a pessimist because things don't go your way, maybe you have to redefine what your ways are, and like Dalai
Like,
Lama did,
well,
and he
Dalai
said,
Lama and Shimin are the same because I remember a talk when I was living in New York when my kids were still little. I remember I would go down with Uncle Param, Luke, to the city and spend time with him. And one time we went to the park to watch the Dalai Lama do his talk, Central Park, and there were thousands of people everywhere. And that's where I introduced my brother to a neurosurgeon from Italy because I no time for relationships. I didn't want to bother. A very pretty girl, but so they formed a relationship, and I thought it was going to go very far, but it didn't. You know, Uncle Param. But anyway, the point is, we were invited by that neurosurgeon who we met at the park as well to a very special event where the Dalai Lama was speaking in a church. Literally, only a few people were allowed in, and she just happened to be one of the key people responsible. So we came and we were part of that, and it was intimate group, if you can call 100 people intimate. A group, and we were sitting asking him questions, and he was so witty, and he answered. And somebody asked him this question: "What do you miss the most about being a monk?" And he looked at everybody. It was the cheeky look in his face, and he pointed down to his gonads, his hoo-has down there. Everybody burst out laughing. I miss that guy because he's not supposed to use that guy at all, for any reason whatsoever. And I thought that was very, very funny because he resigned himself to the fact that he was going to be this monk. And just like Shimin resigned herself to the fact that she was not going to have this thing and nobody's going to she'll move on, and so on and so forth. So your adaptation may mean just move on. Do something else. Don't even sit and cry at the crossroads when you made your decision. Go left or right. You make a right turn. Don't look back because there's going to be another crossroads. And the people who are very unhappy in life are the people that always look back and say, I wonder if I should have done this. I wonder if I should have gone left instead of right. I wonder what would have happened. I wonder what's happening to that person I left behind. Those are the most miserable, depressed people in the world who feel they made the wrong decision. So every decision is a okay and good decision. You just have to deal with the consequences, right, Shimin?
Yep.
Is that your attitude?
Pretty much.
can you pick up the strength of that
Oh, no,
elephant?
she just gave me a compliment. I'm pretty and I'm much. We need a whole sentence from you.
So
Shimin.
Shimin, you have to pick up the strength of that elephant which is on the pillow, and move ahead, and move ahead and stop being pessimist, and be optimistic about not being a pessimist.
Are you married, Shimin?
Nope.
Are you in a relationship?
Yes.
You are a happy
Yep.
one. Is he listening, or you
I
don't
guess
have?
most of the time.
You can say pass if he's standing there watching you.
No, he's not.
Oh, okay, good. All right.
Yeah, but
What could make just one quick question? What could make your relationship happier with him? What is that one thing that could make it happier?
I have no clue.
Like
I mean, I haven't really thought about it, so
more like here we're talking about the self-improvement expert and the love guru is there on your right, and he will tell you a little bit more, enhance something, improve something, communication, erectile dysfunction, things like this, a little bit harder, Just things. What
So
could be
I-
that one thing? Yes,
I would say communication.
communication.
Yeah.
Good. If you could talk more or less, you want him to talk less or more?
Probably more.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
So is that because he's not a good communicator? That's what you say?
No, I mean it's perfectly fine, but it's just that I think for Singaporeans itself, because we are usually very busy with like all the hustle and bustle. So I would say that maybe spend more time to talk to each other when we are hanging out together, I guess.
Mhm.
Interesting. So when you are heading out, you are together, you think he talks less.
I would say
Not
usually
enough.
doesn't talk much. So yeah. I would say I think it's much easier if we were to communicate more.
I have good news and bad news for you.
Oh.
Which one do you want to hear first?
The bad one, I guess.
Bad news.
Pessimist
The-
view.
The bad
Bad one
news.
first.
The bad news is that he is like pretty much all men, most men. Generalization, of course. There's always the 10%, like Ashok, that talks openly, freely, and never too much for a lot of women. But most men, when they are struggling with an issue or a problem, whether it's emotional or otherwise, they prefer to keep quiet. They are in their cave, their mental cave, emotional cave, and they're sorting things out. This is how they do it. But women's brains are designed differently. You have to verbalize through your problems and your issues and so on and so forth. So it's very difficult. But the good news is that you can form female relationships, close female relationships, at the same time, where you girlfriends, quote unquote, can go out, have a cup of coffee, sit and discuss, and work your issues through that way. And back and forth.
Actually, I
Two-
would say I think he talks more than I do.
Oh, you said he doesn't talk enough.
Yeah, as in, but I just feel that like over the years we don't talk like as much as we used to. Yeah, so I think it's a 5-year relationship thing.
So
It's 5
maybe,
years already. Wow.
Yeah.
so maybe you have to improve your communications, right?
Yeah, probably. It's
That-
self-improvement.
that's how like a lot of things, like when you look at something, and I say if you are upset at somebody or you want them to do something, that's an indication what you have to work on yourself. And that is going to be my show with Dr. Mel Gill on Sunday, the triggers and the blind spots.
Okay.
If my internet comes back,
Ashok is running a show called Celebrating Life. And so I'm a guest on his show, but the good news is I'm a guest. The bad news is these people don't wake up before 11 a.m., which for us is 11 p.m. And he expects me to be alert and ready and so on and so forth to chat, and who knows. But in terms of talking, around the 5 to 7 year period in a relationship, if you guys are not married, or even if you're married, it makes no difference actually. We go through what is called relationship fatigue or couple fatigue, where you know too much about each other. There are no more mysteries. You kind of know what the next word is that's going to come out. You know the next sentence after what you say is going to happen. So the expectations are been managed, and so on and so forth. So you guys have to do something a little bit different and novel. In other words, find yourself in a different situation, go to a different country, deal with a different thing altogether. This is what I do. I move like every 7 years, 8 years, 10 years, from one country to another country, to another country, to another country. And this is what I'll do until the day I die. And so that people say, where did Mel die? We don't know. The last country we saw him was in Israel. He was the guy bombed in Palestine. So we have no idea, you know. So do something different, which brings out different traits from both of you on how you deal with different things, or introduce an issue or problem. If you introduce Ashok into your relationship, trust me, that's going to be a whole set of things you're going to deal with, and so on and so forth as well. But you don't want to do unpleasant. You want to do pleasant as much as possible. Try moving to a different country. Now with the COVID thing happening and jobs are scarce, maybe you can do your job in a different country. Learn a new language. You'd be surprised what you can open up as well. Sifoso asked a very interesting question that relates to what you were saying as well, and Ashok was saying. Is there a fine line between optimism and being delusional? I leave it to both of you to answer. Shimin? It seems to suggest that Sifoso thinks that people who are optimistic might be delusional.
I wouldn't say so.
Because?
I would say that being optimistic is actually more of like the perspective that you see, or the way that you see things.
The lens that you put on to see the world.
Yeah.
Your Wi-Fi network isn't connected to the internet. Take a look at the help section in your Alexa app.
Yeah, but
You have Alexa. I have Google, but yeah.
no, the Alexa doesn't belong to me.
Is it from you, Ashok?
That's from me, yeah. Because I don't have the internet, so Alexa keep on trying to reach out to the internet and say, sorry, I can't reach out.
Oh, so how are you doing this then, if there's no internet?
Well, I got a 5G thing which I can connect it to. So,
Hey,
So,
Alexa. Hey, Alexa. You say, hey, Alexa?
It looks like your
Oh,
Wi-Fi network isn't connected to the internet. Take a look at the
Hey.
help section in your Alexa app.
Hey, Alexa, give me Ashok's last search on Google. What was
It
he
looks
looking
like
at?
your Wi-Fi network isn't connected to the internet.
she keep on saying you are not connected to the internet, so she can't help you.
The last person I did this to, when I had a Zoom discussion with them, I activated Alexa from this side. He was in, where was he? In California. And I asked him, Alexa, tell me what his, what he was searching for on the internet. Oh, yeah, there was midget porn, and there was and a few other things as well. See, she's still responding to me.
Yeah, of course, she has to
Yes,
because she understands her name. I mean, that's it. So, I mean, that's a tricky.
Josh Hill, who is Josh Hill? Says, hey, I saw your ad on Couch app. Pookie was wondering if you take Couch coins or Couch bucks. What is that?
I'm not sure. I've never heard of that. But I did have something to add to Sifiso's question. I think there is a fine line between optimism and being delusional, but we should get very comfortable crossing back and forward over that line often. I mean, the Roger Bannister, all these gentlemen that achieved things that once people thought were impossible, were all called delusional at some point until they proved the world wrong. And to be able to stick to that delusion and make it reality, it's really what's going to chart what's possible and impossible.
In other words, who decides what is delusional, what is not? If the masses decide this is delusional, is it so? I mean, if the entire mental hospital called Earth starts to weigh in on you and say, this is impossible, this is stupid, this is da-da-da-da-da, so on and so forth, does that mean that that's true? Or,
in a in a mental hospital, all the patient thinks doctor is illusional and they are all right.
Agreed.
So it's
Had
like
too
who is
much.
deciding
Seen
for
too
you?
much. Yes, I have seen too many of these folks. Yeah.
They say, why
Yo
doctor is
pokey.
asking me stupid questions all the time? he has got some mental issue. That's what the patient thinks about the doctor.
Okay,
How much
well,
you want for the couch?
that's an entire different conversation. I don't know where these guys came from. Hey, I think there's some confusion. I clicked your sponsored encouragement, and when does this? What on earth? Someone's selling couches on this talk.
I think one of the guests we had on the show previously might do a casting couch thing once in a while, but that's different.
It's a different couch.
There you go.
That couch has been heavily used, and so it's going cheap. You have to do your own cleaning. When does the couch auction start?
Do I hear 100 euros? 100 euros
No,
going once?
I think he's talking about time on the couch, the psychology couch, because you're talking to a psychologist here. You know, just lie down and we'll see what the couch gives you at that point. Anyway. Are these your friends?
No.
Are they not? Okay. We'll just say goodbye to all of them. Anyway, so finish. Yep.
But go ahead. You was going to say something.
I'm not saying something. But all the comments keep coming in asking for the couch.
Okay.
It's not gonna start.
Please, Luke, take charge.
I'm not sure where to go with some of these comments, but yeah, going back to positivity and overcoming failure. I think the only time positivity and failure can be taken too far over that line is something people don't talk about a lot. Maybe we can talk about more on the next show. Is toxic positivity, which sometimes, you know, when we go too far over the extreme, it inhibits us from taking responsibility for ourselves and areas of you know, our inner workings that we need to work on in order to improve. And we'll try to get a picture of that couch up for the next session, I guess.
I have no idea.
So, Luke, can you give me an example of what you just said?
Fiso says, what I am getting to is, when does one make peace with the failure? As Mel said, you need to move on. Absolutely. You know, you have to decide at that moment for you when it's time to move on, when it's time to keep moving forward and embrace whatever has occurred in your life, whatever failure it may have been, and just keep trucking.
All right, cool. Guys, do you want to, let's close this session. It's getting a little bit late in Singapore. And maybe what we can do is start with anybody who would like to close today's session on everything we've discussed. Some comment, advice to people who are listening in, the sane people who are listening in to this program. I've just blocked all of them.
So from what I can say is, try to see if you can change the definition of your failure. And that will be one of the things which will change your life in so many different ways. Because if you change your definition, you may come to different conclusions about the same event. And that will change your perspective. And of course, you know, like the positive thinking is great, but you also have to be aware of it, where you're going over the line and where you have to step in. I mean, everything in life is about balance, you know, like too much of the spiritual things probably will not let you survive in this 3D world. It may let you survive in the spiritual world, but it may not let you survive in the 3D world. So you have to have that kind of a balance. I have to have my intellect helping me with, like if I'm in a room, to walk through the door, not through the window. I couldn't be all like, it doesn't matter, I'm so spiritual that I can walk through the wall. Even though some people claim that, but that's not true. I've never seen anybody doing that. So you have to keep a balance somewhere, but try to change your definition of everything which is not serving you, including failure. And that will bring you towards the happiness and joyfulness. And there is nothing wrong with being happy, because most of the people think like oh, if I'm too happy, like everybody around me thinks I'm crazy. And then if that is what people around you think, you have to choose who are the people you hang around with, because some people are totally pessimistic and bring you down with everything. Like we can find out a reason to be happy, they can find out the same reason for the same event to be unhappy. So choose your definitions, choose your friends, choose your environment very wisely, and see if you can change the perspective. And that's my closing thoughts on this.
Shimin, repeat what he said word for word. No, I'm just kidding. Just sorry. What?
Even I
what
can't do that.
What are your thoughts, closing thoughts, and advice to people listening in on everything we discussed?
I guess I would say okay, I just lost my train of thoughts. But okay, just a little bit side note of myself. So previously actually I dropped out of university, but that was given the circumstances was bad because my dad actually passed away. So it wasn't a course that I exactly enjoy. So I would say that getting a degree at that point in time wasn't what I really wanted. So right now I'm back on track on getting a degree. So I would say that certain things you might not get what you want at this point in time, but I guess it's important to place your focus on what you really want to achieve, like in time to come. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Very useful. Sorry to hear about your dad. And Luke?
I would agree with what both of you guys said, and ultimately it is about finding that balance, and more than that, but defining that balance for yourself in everything in life. Whether to define that line between delusional and optimism, to define all of these parameters by which we choose to think and by which we choose to operate. Ultimately, how you define those is what's going to create your reality. So it's time to stop letting everyone else define that for you and choose what you want to experience in life and define those parameters based on what you want to experience.
Awesome. Very good advice. Thank you, everybody. Luke, good night. And that brings us to the close of Uncommon Sense for the day. And I want to thank you for being part of this program. We've been talking about remembering, we're talking about forgetting, we're talking about what you can do to remember who you really are in the world and what you need to do to contribute to the world, or in some way become such a relevant part of living and being alive that you're no longer concerned with how people judge you and what people think about you. So, on one sense, you heard some of our guests talked about being easily pleased. And one key to knowing joy is to really be the kind of person that's easily pleased. The little things are what help you in getting through in life. And life throws us a lot of curveballs. Life gives us a lot of things that we don't expect to have happen to us. And most of our searching is looking for ways to discover who we really already are. So in this, we are a very forgetful species, and perhaps what Adam and Eve lost when kicked out of Eden was their ability to remember what is sacred. And thus we continue and run into mountains and rivers and run to the furthest sea and into the arms of strangers, all to be shaken into remembering who we are. And some of us lead very simple lives, like Ashok was talking about, hoping to practice how not to forget that important part of you that is here on earth as a spiritual being having a uniquely spiritual experience, human experience, instead of a human being having a spiritual experience. So part of our journey is this forgetting, I think, and this remembering. It's a special part of what makes us human. So what can we do? Well, it's no secret that slowness remembers and hurry tends to forget. That softness remembers and hardness forgets. That surrender remembers and fear forgets. It is beautifully difficult to remember who we really are, but we help each other every time we fill this cup of truth and hold each other up after drinking from it. And then we celebrate what we call friendships, love, relationships born of family are no different than relationships born of love, because those that you love now become your family, in your mind, in your heart, and in your spirit. And this is what it's all about, isn't it? Finding a group that can support you, people that will look to you as if you are part of their belonging, part of someone they can call friend, brother, sister. Somewhere along the way, the search for others to love us is really a search for us to love ourselves. You've been listening to Uncommon Sense, and this is the voice of Dr. Mel Gill. Thank you for your time, and I know it's late for a lot of you. We will broadcast again next Wednesday. This program is broadcast on Wednesdays and Fridays, 9:30 p.m. Singapore time, 9:30 a.m. New York time, and 4:30 p.m. Bulgarian time. Good night, everyone.